Hi guys, this is Sharvari and I have with me Sharang. So to introduce myself, I am a counseling psychologist and I will let Sharang introduce himself. Do you want to go ahead, Sharang?
Sure, I'm a molecular biologist, but I also have a passion for chemistry, physics, philosophy, astrophysics, nuclear physics, etc., religion, philosophy, etc. And I hope that a molecular biologist and a counseling psychologist together can have interesting and fascinating discussions on a plethora of different topics and contribute their unique perspectives to the ongoing discourse.
That
And
was very concise, Sharang. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. And actually, the aim of this channel is to speak, as Sharang mentioned, on a variety of different topics. So if you guys have any suggestions, we'd really be open to them. So we can include your suggestions in our upcoming videos. So coming to today's video, Sharang, what are you going to be talking about exactly today?
well, today I would like to talk about the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and so maybe you would like to, for people who are not aware or people who are not from the Indian context, in very simple terms, the Bhagavad Gita is to Hindus what the Bible or the Quran is for either Europeans or Arabs, respectively. So it's one of our key religious books. And so yeah, this is the thing that I would like to talk about. Although Hindus have a wide variety of religious books such as the Ramayana, Vedas, Puranas, etc., Bhagavad Gita is one of our most important books, I would say. And yeah.
Great, great. That's a very interesting topic that you're bringing to the table today. So I myself have heard a lot about the Bhagavad Gita. I haven't read it, but I want to know more about it, and so does our audience, I believe. So I have a set of questions that I've compiled that I would like to ask you since you yourself have read it. So is it okay if we kind of deep dive into the questions?
Sure, sure.
Okay, so I'll bring to you my first question is you mentioned that the Bhagavad Gita is a Hindu text. So what makes it so important for Hindus? Because there are other texts like the Ramayana, the Vedas, or the Mahabharata. So what,
Right.
gives it an edge over these other holy texts?
So I would say that the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, henceforth I will just refer to it as the Bhagavad Gita for the purposes of brevity. It is essentially a dialogue between Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Arjun. And I will later in later videos I will introduce in detail exactly who these characters were. But for now, it is important to know that Arjun was a Kshatriya, which means a member of the warrior caste, and he was also a prince who was hoping for a kingdom of his own, which was his birthright in some sense. And Bhagwan Sri Krishna is considered an avatar of Vishnu, and he was the king of Dwarka. And on the battlefield, on the eve of a very important battle, Arjun had a crisis of conscience. And it was in this context that Bhagwan Shri Krishna had to bolster his resolve and inspire Arjun to do the right thing. And it was this dialogue that is being captured, and this comes down to us as the Bhagavad Gita. Now, what is in it for us, and what makes it so interesting, even for Hindus ourselves? It is that if you look at the Vedas or the Puranas, etc., etc., well, it is. This is about religious belief, right? So, if you read it as a devout Hindu, of course, you are reading about your God. You are reading about Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and you can see intimations of divinity. For example, when Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that within me there are all worlds, within me you can find nirvana and moksha. For a Hindu, that is a purushartha of his life. That is the ultimate aim or goal of his life, to attain moksha, to attain enlightenment. So that is in it if you are a Hindu. On the other hand, if you're an atheist and you reject these religious presuppositions, then you can simply treat it as a book of philosophy. And I would say that if you read it, the Bhagavad Gita, as a book of only philosophy, then it can rival that of Plato or Aristotle, because the philosophical ideas or the ideas of human nature and how should we act in this world, they're deep and profound, and they continue to have moral relevance even today. Additionally, especially for modern Hindus in the 21st century, a lot of the ideas that we still take for granted, a lot of our beliefs and value systems, they come actually from the Bhagavad Gita. So, for example, the concept of karma, it is elaborated on quite a bit in the Bhagavad Gita. right? And every Hindu subscribes to the concept of karma. I myself grew up listening to one of the shloks of the Bhagavad Gita, which pertains to karma. You know, on the other hand, the concepts such as guna, whether you do something for sattva guna, rajas guna, tamas guna, or other ideas, including justice, morality. A lot of them have echoes in the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, it was a very famous scene, right? We all know this in every Bollywood movie. It was a scene where the person accused of a crime would have to swear an oath upon the Bhagavad Gita, keep his hand. So yeah, this should tell you this should give you an intimation of exactly how important the Bhagavad Gita is to modern Hindus.
Right. That's very interesting. And if I got to know, or if I understood you correctly, then it's kind of a part of the Mahabharata, if that's right.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay, okay. That is super interesting. So actually, this brings me to my next question. Now we compared it to other Hindu texts, but what about other texts that come from different religions like the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah?
Well, so I would say that I would like to begin by acknowledging that I'm of course a Hindu. I'm not a Muslim or a Jew or a Christian, so I'm not that aware of their religious tradition. But to the best of my knowledge, what struck me so much about the Bhagavad Gita is that it's not really a set of commandments. So, for example, God gave Moses a set of 10 commandments. In the continuing the similar example, God also gave Muhammad a series of commandments, rules that he has to obey, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, in the Bhagavad Gita, you don't find that kind of attitude where God is essentially forcing man to walk his path. It is more like a discourse or a dialogue between friends. And in the Bhagavad Gita, you constantly find Arjun disagreeing with the Bhagavan Shri Krishna. You constantly find him challenging him. You constantly find him trying to understand better exactly what he's trying to say. What I find most interesting about the Bhagavad Gita is that Bhagavan Sri Krishna never tells us you have to do this, you have to do that. He encourages Arjun to follow his Swadharma. It is a concept that I will elaborate on in later videos. But Swadharma means the our own path of righteousness. So that path of moral action to which we are compelled to by our own conscience. That is what Swadharma is. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna encourages Arjun to follow that. And he tells Arjun, look, if you follow the wrong path, then the universe has been structured in such a way that there will be negative consequences for you. Not that I will punish you. And this change in attitude was this difference in attitude really struck me. And he ends the entire Bhagavad Gita by saying, Mama Mati, according to me. So it's just God, in a very different, with a very different attitude, literally saying, this is just my opinion. And yeah, that's what I find. This is, in my opinion, what makes the Bhagavad Gita different from the Bible, Torah, Quran, etc.
Right, right. That's actually true. I mean, I think these are all suggestions than rules, as you mentioned. So great insight on that. So brings me to my fourth question actually. What is the purpose, or what are you trying to exactly tell us in this series that we have?
Right. So neither me nor you are priests or religiously educated people, right? We're normal people from 21st century India. What I'm hoping to do is just read the Gita and either because I've had some experiences which make me think that maybe there is something beyond humanity and maybe God might even exist, right? In the very least, I'm trying to read the Bhagavad Gita, try to understand it to the best of my abilities, and if not find divinity or God, at least find deep moral philosophy which can inform the way we can live our life, even in the 21st century, and then try to apply those life lessons.
Right, right, right. That's amazing. And what might be the, you can maybe tell our viewers what they would expect us to make going ahead in the future?
Right. So how I exactly hope to achieve this is that I plan to go through the Bhagavad Gita shlok by shlok, adhyay by adhyay. So the Bhagavad Gita has been structured in like a few adhyayas, and each adhyay has shlokas. So I'll go sequentially through the Bhagavad Gita and try to explain the meaning of each shlok to the best of my abilities, and try to put it in a larger context, try to tell exactly what that shlok is trying to do. Additionally, I will also try to connect the shlok or that knowledge which we are obtaining from the Bhagavad Gita with the knowledge from other religious traditions and the knowledge which we already know from science. On the other hand, and this is where I think you will play a major role, I will explore the Bhagavad Gita also from somewhat of a psychological angle. So, for example, in the Bhagavad Gita, you find archetypal imagery in the form of, for example, the banyan tree. And when I read that imagery, my first thought was it sounded something like Yggdrasil, which is the tree which connects the different realms in Norse mythology. So there are certain archetypal images which repeat themselves often in many different religious traditions which had no contact with each other. So why is that? Does our collective unconscious, in the words of Carl Jung, play a role in the generation and propagation of these archetypal images? What deep philosophical and psychological lessons is the Bhagavad Gita trying to underscore in their discourse about man and man's nature? So yeah, that's pretty
That's
much it, and that is what I hope to achieve in this ongoing video series.
that's great, and I think it would be better if it came from someone like us. So in your case, you're a millennial, I am a Gen Z. So I think the audience who might be in this category, I'm not saying they all might be, but in the scenario that they are, they might be able to better relate it from two people who might be of the same age group. So this seems to be a good effort. And of course, yeah, everyone stay tuned for the next videos that will follow. And do like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
I promise to not hold the fact that you're a Gen Z against you going forward. Like, I promise that.
I think the Gen Z people in the comment section can, bash you on probably.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you, Sharang.